How are we doing, guys? Moose here, episode 13 now of our West Ham United career mode. And the way we are going to jump into this episode today, we're going to take a look. This is going to be a live section followed by a post-commentary section. We're going to start off live here, just taking a look as we get up to the transfer window here. We'll do a squad report once we get to January 1st, as well as take a look at our short list. From there, we're also going to look at how the career's going so far, so like our summary and where we're looking compared to our goals. And then we'll get the post commentary. We have a game on January 1st against West Bromwich Albion. So the first thing we'll do is get into the small stuff here before we get to that West Bromwich game. So I'll show you the calendar here: 29th, 30th, 31st. And then the first we play West Bromwich Albion, so once we get to that day, obviously we'll play that game to finish out this episode. But the first thing we're going to do, obviously Winston Reid, I decided he's refused a contract. What we're going to do, we're just going to offer him a little bit more money. We'll go 45 because he is our best defender, and we don't want to be losing him, especially not on a free transfer. So we're going to give him crucial first team, 45K a week for 2 years, and hopefully he will accept that if we give him a little bit better terms, and because we would love to keep him at the club. Obviously, that's an area I do want another center back because of James Collins potentially leaving or just declining. He's already 30 years old. He doesn't figure in our future plans if we're going to use his career down the line and things of that nature. So we'll see if Reid comes back and accepts. He has not brought anything in, but we did get our Scouting Future Star that we did a couple episodes back has come back, so he's in our youth academy. The transfer market is now open, but Reid hasn't come back to us. That will be something we have to address coming up very soon. But we did offer him that new contract, and we'll see what's going on. So the player that we have got in as we take a look at our youth team is this Thiago Cairo from Portugal. He looks to be a left midfielder, left winger potentially, with great potential, 77 to 94. So hopefully he should be pretty strong. He comes in with some decent stats, green pretty much all across the board. He looks to be a smart player. That's where his highest attributes look to lie, as well as be relatively technically sound, but you like a winger to have a little bit better dribbling skills. But that's good to see. And also, of course, our goalkeeper, Tom Thomas, he is going to be fantastic, 84 to 90 potential. So he should be really good in terms of a top quality player. Let's see if we have anything else here. That was the news about Reid before. So now what we're going to do, we're going to do a squad report here and then show our squad targets. So we'll just talk about where I think we need to improve the squad. We'll go position by position and see what we think. Obviously, Adrian in goal right now. We're going to show them by attributes. And then I'll scroll through very briefly looking at the stats just to see how they're doing. But Adrian, he's jumped up to 77. And, he's a fantastic goalkeeper. Love having him at the club, and he's just fantastic. Can't say enough about him. Yaskalain, of course, is the backup, who we won't be renewing at the end of the 6 months, so I might look at getting a goalkeeper in on a free transfer, or we'll just go with, we do have obviously, one of our youth players could come in and be our backup goalkeeper next year. Right back, obviously, Jenkinson's on loan. He's gone up 3 overall thus far this season, and I would love to have him back at the club next season. That would be huge for us as Demel is retiring at the end of this season, so we're definitely going to need a right back going into next year. Center back, obviously, Winston Reid up to a 76 now. He just got that bump up, so hopefully he'll re-sign this contract and stay with the club. Obviously, Tompkins up to a 75. He's been fantastic as his partner. And you can see Collins hitting 31. He's already going down 1. He's played 10 games, but obviously just not playing enough to keep that overall up. So we're definitely going to look at center backs, which I'll talk about in a little bit. I've also listed a few players for loan. Obviously, Reese Burke, Leo Chambers, a lot of young guys. Cresswell's now gone up to 72, which is fantastic for us. He's been in a great vein of form and is very happy at the club, so he's fantastic for us. So we're set at left back. Obviously, O'Brien's a good backup to have. He's still improving, goes up 1. Kiate's now gone up to a 73. He's fantastic, going to be a rock in our midfield for the time being. Song is a huge target here because you can see his value is $8.5 million. I would love to keep him at the club after this season, but we'll have to see what his price tag is, or if I can even get him on loan again next year. I doubt it, but I would love to keep him at the club. He's been absolutely fantastic. Poyet, I listed for loan. He's going to be a guy that's going to be huge for us for the future, but not right now. Malfitano, he's a player that his contract may expire. He hasn't really inspired me in terms of his form. He's just been okay. So I would love to keep him around, but I'll wait. If somebody comes in for him on a pre-contract, I'm not going to be too worried about it. If they don't, I'm fine with keeping him around next year, but we'll decide on that at the end of the season. I don't want to make any moves for him now. Obviously, Downing's been in unbelievable form. I'm expecting people to come in with offers for him just because he's been so good for us. So we'll have to see if we do get offers for our star man Stuart Downing. Turgot, just another youth player. Vassam, actually, his contract expired in 6 months. I'm considering putting him out on loan, but with the Premier League fixtures heating up as well as the FA Cup going to start, I don't know if I should keep him around just as squad depth or if I should put him out for a short-term loan. We'll see. We'll decide at some point in this month. Noble, of course, has been fantastic. He's one of our best players. No worries there. So central midfield, we're pretty strong. I'll tell you what. It's the wide areas because Downing's been playing as a cam. I don't have a ton of wide players. Obviously, Amalfitano hasn't impressed. Zarate's been okay. He can play out as a left attacking mid. We really only have Jarvis out as a left midfielder, which we'll get down here. He's actually gone up 1 despite not playing a ton and not looking very good in the Premier League, so that's good to see that Jarvis is still improving. Obviously, Ravel Morrison, he's in bad form. He's only played 5 games. I'm actually considering sending him out on loan just because Downing's been so good in that cam position that Ravel could do with a loan spell to help him prove him and give him some more game time, just because I've been using Nolan over Ravel because Ravel's not going to get the starts that he needs. So we'll actually list him for a short-term loan to see if we can get some offers for him to go elsewhere just for short loan spells. Nolan, of course, he's only even played 8 games. He's actually gone down 1, but 74 overall. He still has plenty of good stats. You can see he's got great technical stats that allow him to still be a good contributor. He's really only going down in the physical areas, so he's okay. Of course, Zarate's gone up to +2. He's only scored 3 times in 13 games. Not great, but he hasn't really played in a striker role. He's either played in like a cam or a wide midfield role, so you can understand the goals. Obviously, Sacco's been unbelievable. It's amazing he's only gone up to +1 overall with 10 goals from 14 games. He's been fantastic, so nothing to complain about Sacco. Of course, Valencia with 7 goals from those 14 games, but he does have 4 assists. As you can see, Sacco does have just 1, so Valencia's been providing to Sacco. He actually hasn't gone up, which is a little bit disappointing as well, but he's been fantastic, and those are 2 players that play well above their rating. Carroll still feels threatened. He scored 6 times, and he's played just as many Premier League appearances as Sacco and Valencia, but he does have a few more off the bench as compared to Sacco and Valencia, who've been starting a lot of the time. But Carroll's still been playing well. He has 6 goals from 16. Not bad for a striker who doesn't get a ton of service depending on the formation we're playing. So I'm still happy with Carroll. Don't want to get rid of him at all. Elliot Lee, another guy that we might send out on loan. Same with Janai Gordon, young players like that. Carlton Cole, he is injured to be out for 2 weeks. He scored twice from 5 games, not bad, but his contract is expiring. So if someone comes in to take him on a free transfer, I'll be okay with it. If not, we might sign him just for striker depth later in the season. Maiga, of course, on loan. He won't be coming back to the team. So that's what we're looking at right now. I think the team looks pretty solid. Obviously, we could just use some depth. I think central midfield we could beef up depending on if we bring Song back. Obviously, we're going to need a right back. Is going to be huge. And I think a winger would also be key too, someone of a Jarvis ilk. Just because we don't have a ton of wide players, so when we do have to switch to like a 4-2-3-1 or maybe a 4-1-2-1-2 with wide midfielders as opposed to central midfielders, we don't really have a ton of options. But from there, we're going to take a look at the short list of how we can improve the team here. We'll just take a quick look at that. Obviously, it pretty much focuses on those positions. Obviously, we might need a new goalkeeper, so I had Butland on here, but with our young star Thomas, we don't really need Butland anymore. Obviously, a right back would be huge. Klein from Southampton is someone I'm looking at. Byram, I think, would be a little bit cheaper. Coming from the Championship could be an option for us. Obviously, I'd love to bring Jenkinson back. He'd be my first choice, but these are kind of secondary options. We're not really looking at them right now. Nkulu is really the first guy I'm looking at because he is available on a pre-contract with his contract expiring in 6 months, and he would slot right into our starting 11. He'd be that replacement for Collins. I would probably bump Tompkins down to be our reserve center back, but that's fine to have a player of that quality as a reserve center back, and obviously bring in someone with this good of ability. The thing I like about Nkulu is he has fantastic sprint speed for a center back, which is huge for not letting players gain behind you. Obviously, I talked about a wide midfielder. These would be some players, Campbell, Tovin, Tor, that would be fantastic for us next year when we actually have some money to spend. The one player I'm actually looking about for the future here, which we'll actually put in an inquiry about him now, is Francisco Rodriguez. He's a youngster with a ton of potential. I think his potential is huge, but he's only going to come in at probably 67 to 70 overall, but he has a ton of potential. So if we can get him a little bit cheap with his contract expiring soon, I would love to bring him in. We'll probably ask for a little bit of money. Aubameyang would be fantastic. He can play as a striker, so if we lose Carlton Cole, we have another striker option. but he also is fantastic as a wide midfielder, and he has a ton of pace, which would be fantastic for us bombing down the wings. That's why I also like Oxlade-Chamberlain. It'd be tough to get him from Arsenal just because of the money. Central midfield, I love Ward-Prowse. I would love to bring in Ward-Prowse, or Will Hughes is like a cheaper version of Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse would be the ideal option, but he would probably cost a ton of money. Enzo Perez is a player I actually had a look at. If we can't bring back Song, he's literally a like-for-like example of Song, as well as Michael Bradley, formerly of Roma, now playing for Toronto FC over in the MLS, is actually a younger version with literally the exact same stats as Alex Song. I checked them both out. They have pretty much the exact same ratings across the board. So he would be someone, we won't need him for this year, but maybe for next year. Obviously, Tielemans, some young players. Nathan Redmond, some left midfield. Zaha would be huge for us. I love Lacazette up front, of course. And El Shaarawy would be someone I might put a punt in on, obviously, next year. But just another quality winger that we might look to bring in. So a lot of these guys are future ideas for next year, but they could play a role if we need them. And the last thing we're going to look at here is in the office. We'll look at how our career is going thus far, and we'll take a look at the table real quick before we jump into this West Bromwich Albion game. Obviously, we're 13 wins, 3 draws, 5 losses right now, 41 goals scored, 27 against, which is fantastic. Our biggest win, we had 5 goals against West Bromwich, so we beat Leicester 4-1, and then our biggest defeat is against Chelsea 4-0. We haven't spent any in transfers yet because I obviously had it closed. And then so we'll see how we are looking compared to our objectives right now. The objective is for us to finish mid-table. We're projected to finish 4th right now. And then the domestic cup objective, they want us to reach the round of 16. Obviously, we didn't do that in the Capital One Cup, but we could potentially do it in the FA Cup. And I think right now, similar to what West Ham said they might do this season in real life, is if you're doing this well, you're projected mid-table. I kind of want to finish mid-table. I don't want to be in the Champions League right off the bat, just because I don't think the squad is ready for that. So I might start resting some players in the league and play my top squad in the FA Cup and try to get some silverware this year. Make that my main focus, since we're already safe in the league, and I think a comfortable 5th or 6th place finish is more ideal for us than finishing the top 4 with a squad that really won't be able to handle the Champions League next year. So we'll take a look at the table here. Obviously, Everton sitting in 1st, West Ham, us sitting in 2nd, 39 points. But we do have a game up on a few of the teams. Obviously, Spurs right behind us on 37 points. Stoke City, one of the surprises of the season, with 37 points, still in 4th place. Man United and Man City bringing behind them in 5th, 6th. Arsenal and Chelsea 7th and 8th. So obviously, the big clubs all within striking distance of the top, only halfway through the season. And sitting in the relegation places, Leicester City, QPR, and Hull, but not far ahead of them, Crystal Palace, Swansea, Southampton, Sunderland, and teams of that like. So there's a little bit of a gap there you can see from 10th dropping down to 11th to Liverpool, who are actually struggling mightily this year, similar to real life. So that's what we're looking at right now, guys, and obviously the FA Cup coming up soon. But we started off here with a game against West Bromwich Albion, so we'll get into those highlights, and I hope you will enjoy that. I hope you have enjoyed the look at the team so far, and what we're potentially interested in doing. Obviously, I love your feedback on the players that we should go for, and things of that nature. So let me know what you think I should do, and we're going to get into this West Bromwich Albion. So we are going to get here into our game against West Bromwich Albion at the Bowling Ground. So facing them at home, obviously we coming off a 5-2 victory in the away fixture against West Brom at the Hawthorns with a fantastic game. Also ended up with us picking up a big win, and we currently see West Brom sitting in 10th in the table, while we have jumped all the way up to 2nd after that 2-0 victory that we're coming off against Arsenal. It was a fantastic game, obviously. The only change we've made to the lineup from that game is we've taken Kevin Nolan out and brought in Cheku Kiyate. But other than that, the lineup remains the same. Sacco and Valencia leading the attack up top, with Downing sitting just behind them. And West Brom will counter with a lineup that's led by Brown-Adé up top, Sessegnon sitting behind him, Varela and Dorans on the wings, Jakob and Malumbu in the center, Ben Foster between the sticks for the Baggies. So a pretty solid lineup. Also, they have Inichibi will be their main danger man off the bench as well. But West Brom starting off here strong. Doran's coming down the right-hand side. Plays the ball forward to the right back. Gambo has gotten well forward into Malumbu. Good defending by Jenkinson. And eventually, Adrian forced into a good save on a shot by Sessegnon. But then Jenkinson plays the ball and whips it to the back post, looking for Valencia. Good header, good strong header, but it's right at Ben Foster. He's comfortably able to save. Chiate then plays the ball out wide to Sacco, sees the run of Ener Valencia, chips over the top, and he's got plenty of space, just pushes it forward, eventually smacks a shot low to the right post, but Ben Foster does well to get down and keep things out. West Brom then come on a counterattack here in the 15th minute. Jakob gets the ball played forward to him. Winston Reid does really well defensively, but then he just commits an absolutely atrocious turnover, and it comes back to bite us. Brown today with his 5th goal of the Premier League season on a simple header after an absolutely terrible turnover. Winston Reid did really well to outmuscle Jakob, but then he just turns, and I really went to turn and I wanted to clear the ball, but he basically stopped it and left it for Jakob to take it away from him and allowed Ide to get free in the center of the park and simply head it home past Adrian. But we counter here. The ball played out wide to Carl Jenkinson, the on-loan Arsenal man. Plays the ball into Diafra Sacco. He plays the ball forward to Stuart Downing. Sees a run of Cheku Chiate. The former Anderlecht man has a shot. It's well saved by Foster, but then Ener Valencia with a fantastic looping finish on the volley off of the rebound. So a pretty crazy way to score there. Great build-up play that led to Chiate coming in. Foster makes a fantastic save, and Valencia just contorts his body, and all he wants to do is just direct this ball back on goal. He's able to stick it in the top right-hand corner before Foster can recover and pick up his 8th goal of the Premier League season and get us back level early on in the match at 1-1. But West Brom come back right the other way. Ide splits us wide open with a pass to Sessegnon, and the former Sunderland man, Stefan Sessegnon, just smashes it past the onward coming Adrian, and it's a simple finish that we're just back behind. And I'll tell you what, we seem to just go from one end to the other in the spectrum defensively. Some games will be fantastic, like the Arsenal game, obviously keeping the clean sheet, playing fantastic. And then now this game, we will just be diabolical at the back. Absolute shambles like we were against Chelsea and just look terrible. But we show some offensive problems coming forward. Jenkinson plays a nice through ball to Mark Noble. He lays it back to Sacco, has a shot. And Foster again with another fantastic save. It wouldn't have counted anyways, as Sacco ended up being offsides. But it was a good save. Adrian then counters with a save of his own on Brown Ide, keeping things at 2-1 as we get into the second half here. The ball's played forward to Cheku Chiate. Sprung himself forward on the right-hand side. Plenty of space to try and whip the ball on. Floats it, looking for Valencia. It's actually cleared away by one of the center halves, all the way out to Aaron Cresswell, who does a nice job getting around Varela, then takes on Gamboa. Gamboa makes one block, but Cresswell stays with it, floats it in for Valencia, and Foster just at the last second is able to come out and collect that before Valencia can get in dangerous position with a header there. But Noble then sprays the ball out wide to Ener Valencia, uses a fake shot to get around, gets past McCauley, has a shot, and Foster with a sprawling, diving save to keep the ball, as we are putting as much pressure on this West Brom goal as we can to try and get that vital tying goal. Downing plays the ball forward. Valencia uses his strength to get around McCauley, comes in, has a shot, and Foster again with a magnificent save on Valencia. The ball's cleared away only as far as Cheku Chiate. He strikes the ball from 30 yards and nearly sticks it in the top corner. He beat Foster, but he was just inches away from sticking that in the upper 90, so a great chance there. Jarvis then, who's come on as a substitute, as we try to get a little bit more width to give some service to Valencia, and Carroll comes on as a substitute. It's a beautiful ball from Valencia to the back post to Andy Carroll, but he's unable to beat Foster, and then an absolute mess from Adrian on a ball floated in the 90th minute. Terrible bit of play from Adrian. He comes out, creates a bit of a mess, and Sessegnon on hand to slot it away and really finish the game off for West Bromwich Albion. Adrian comes out. He's got to collect this ball. It was played into, I think Anichebe had come on from the bench, and it's just an absolute meal of it made by Adrian. But that would be how the game would finish. West Brom come into East London and steal 3 points from us, so a disappointing loss. And you can't say they didn't deserve it. They played very well. Also, we had a ton of chances. Ben Foster just played really, really well. I would say, honestly, he would be the man of the match, in my opinion. A ton of great saves, including a few absolute crackers on Valencia, who was arguably our best player in this match. But other than that, it's a tough loss. That's how we're going to finish this episode, guys. So hopefully we can bounce back as we move forward through the transfer window. What we'll do to close out the episode, also, we know we had the contract dispute with Winston Reid. He's decided to sign our new offer. We'll be keeping our top center half for the remaining season. So we'll see you next episode.